I want you to think back to 2020. For me personally, that year wasn't just about a virus. It was the year the walls closed in. I was trapped in a relationship that was falling apart, and when it finally shattered, it threw me straight into a long, lonely lockdown. I was alone with my thoughts for the first time in my life, and I couldn't bear it. I fell into a deep, dark hole. I sought professional help, and for the next 2 years, I sat on the therapist's couch every week. I learned a lot. I unpacked things I didn't even know were broken, but I'm making this video because I realized that for 99% of you watching this, you don't need 2 years of sessions. You need the hard truths I took away from them. This video here is the summary, the too long didn't read of my mental health journey. Here are the lessons from 2 years of therapy so you don't have to go. So the first thing you have to accept is that your parents didn't know any better. We spend so much time blaming our childhoods for our current problems, but here's the reality. Your parents were just kids who had kids. Especially if you were the firstborn, you were the test run. They were learning on the fly, repeating the patterns they learned from their own flawed parents. They did what they could with what they had. Holding on to that resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for them to die. Forgive them, not because they necessarily deserve it, but because you deserve the peace of letting it go. The second lesson is a concept psychologists call the universal wound. When you're in pain, you feel like an alien. You think no one understands what I'm going through right now. But there's a famous psychological principle. The more personal a wound feels, the more general it actually is. Every single person you see on the street feels some level of depression or anxiety. We all feel inadequate. We all feel like frauds. The moment you realize that your secret pain is actually the universal human experience, the weight of it starts to lift. You aren't broken. You're just a human being. This brings me to the modern poison, social media. I need to repeat this because your brain probably doesn't want to believe it. What you see on social media is not real. It is a highlight reel of a filtered life. Science has proven that the upward spiral comparison we do on Instagram triggers the same brain regions as physical pain. You are comparing your behind the scenes footage to someone else's greatest hits. Stop it. It's a simulation. Put the phone down and live in a world where people actually have flaws. Speaking of flaws, let's talk about bullying. If you were picked on in school, you probably spent years wondering what was wrong with you. And the answer is, well, nothing. Evolutionarily, kids are incredibly tribal and, frankly, very cruel. Bullying was never personal. It was about the bully trying to secure their own status in the pack. It was a them problem that they projected onto you. You don't have to carry their insecurities into your 30s. And while we're on the subject of other people, nobody is thinking about you. This sounds harsh, but it's the most liberating thing you'll ever hear. We spend so much time worrying about what people will think of our outfit, our business, our mistakes, but everyone else is too busy worrying about themselves. To give you a second thought, you are the lead actor in your own movie, but in everyone else's movie, you're just an extra in the background. Stop living for an audience that, well, isn't even watching. Now let's go into the stuff that might make you uncomfortable, dating and relationships. Frankly, dating in 2026 is hard. It's a mess of apps and situationships. But that difficulty is actually a good thing. It forces you to improve. It forces you to become someone worth dating. And I've been there. I've chased the body count. I've chased the temporary validation. And I can tell you it's empty. True happiness comes from depth, not volume. Real fulfillment is found in a committed relationship with someone who sees your red flags and chooses to stay. Because, newsflash, everyone has red flags. The people who pretend they're perfect are the ones you should actually run away from. Everyone is worthy of love, but you have to be willing to do the work to keep it. This brings me to the most controversial lesson I learned, the luxury of depression. There's a famous quote by Andrew Tate that says, "Depression is not real." Before you get angry, listen to the perspective here. Unless you are in that very small percentage of the population that is truly, clinically and chemically depressed, which requires medical intervention. Most depression is actually just a signal. It's a luxury good. It is your body telling you that your life sucks. It's a signal that you are overweight, you're broke, you have no purpose, and you're disconnected from people. Taking a pill to numb the pain is like cutting the wire to a fire alarm while the house is still burning. Do not take medication like it's candy. You are running away from that very signal you need to change your life. Therapy taught me how to understand my emotions, but it frankly, of course, didn't fix my life. I had to do that. I had to get my hands out of my ass, go in the gym, build my business, and take responsibility. The more you worry about the future or the past, the more time you lose. Worrying is just a way to feel like you're doing something when you're actually doing nothing. Understanding how your nervous system works is great. Knowing when you're in fight or flight helps, but eventually you have to stop overanalyzing the map and start just driving the car. 2 years of therapy gave me the tools, but the work gave me the results. Stop waiting for someone to save you. Forgive your parents. Realize no one is watching you. Put down the phone and go build a life that you don't need to escape from. Now, I want to hear from you. What is the one truth you've been avoiding that you know you need to face? Let's talk about it in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys, and now go build something.